Most people think the opposite of success is failure. It's not. The opposite of success is drifting. We wait for the right feeling to start. We wait for inspiration to strike like lightning. But while you wait for the spark, the world is moving and you are standing still. You have goals, you have dreams, and you have a vision of the person you want to become. So why are you still here? The difference between the life you have and the life you want is a single, boring, painful, and beautiful word: discipline. It is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. Today, I'm going to tell you the story of James, a man who had to die to his old self to realize that freedom isn't doing whatever you want. It's having the power to do what you must. James was 30 years old, but in his mind, he was still waiting for his life to begin. He lived in a small, dusty house on the edge of a city that seemed to be moving faster than he could breathe. His family was poor, not the kind of poverty you see in movies, but the quiet, grinding kind. The kind where your mother sighs when she opens the fridge and your father's shoes have been glued back together 3 times. James was talented. He was a gifted artist, a man who could see the world in colors others missed. But his canvases were blank. Every morning, James woke up at 10 a.m. He would tell himself, "Today is the day. Today I paint the masterpiece that changes everything." But then he'd check his phone. 1 hour gone. He'd make coffee and stare out the window. 2 hours gone. By the time he picked up a brush, the feeling was gone. He felt heavy, tired. He would say, "I'll do it tomorrow when I have more energy." James wasn't a bad person. He was a drifter. He was a slave to his moods. If he felt good, he worked. If he felt meh, he slept. And because of that, his family stayed poor, and his soul stayed small. One rainy Tuesday, James stood outside a prestigious art gallery. Inside, he saw a man his age, sharp, focused, shaking hands with investors. That man's work was on the walls. James looked at the art and felt a sting in his chest. "I can paint better than that," he whispered to the glass. An old man, the gallery's janitor, was sweeping the sidewalk nearby. He overheard James. "Talent is cheap, son," the old man said without looking up. "The world is full of talented failures. That man inside, he isn't the best painter in the city. He's just the one who showed up every morning at 5 a.m. For 5 years, when he hated every second of it, James went home and looked at his mother. She was stitching a torn shirt, her eyes straining in the dim light. He realized that his lack of discipline wasn't just hurting him, it was a choice to keep his family in the dark. James decided to change. He didn't start with motivation. He started with a rule, the rule of the cold canvas. He decided that no matter how he felt depressed, tired, excited, or bored, he would sit in front of his canvas at 6 a.m. He didn't have to paint a masterpiece. He just had to be there. The first week was agony. His mind screamed for him to go back to bed. He felt like a fraud. He would sit for 3 hours and produce nothing but messy sketches. But he stayed. He realized that discipline is the ability to win the war against your own excuses. Months passed. The masterpiece didn't happen overnight. It happened in the 1,000 tiny strokes he made when he didn't want to. He stopped waiting for the sun and started working in the shadows. He fixed his diet. He stopped scrolling. He treated his time like gold because he realized it was the only currency he had left. A year later, James wasn't the same man. His shoulders were back. His eyes were clear. He had finished a series of 12 paintings. They weren't just good, they had a depth that only comes from a man who has mastered himself. He didn't wait for a gallery to find him. He used his newfound discipline to study marketing, to knock on doors, to face rejection after rejection without folding. When he finally sold his first big piece, he didn't buy something for himself. He bought his mother a new house. As he handed her the keys, she asked him, "James, how did you do it? What changed?" James looked at his hands stained with paint and calloused from work and said, "I stopped listening to how I felt and started listening to who I wanted to be." Discipline is not a cage. It is the key to the cage. Most people think being disciplined means being a robot, but the truth is, the person who has no discipline is the one who is truly enslaved, chained to their whims, their laziness, and their fleeting emotions. If you only work when you are motivated, you will never achieve anything great. Motivation gets you into the race, but discipline is what carries you across the finish line. You must learn to do the hard work, especially when you don't feel like it. Stop negotiating with your inner weakness. Build your routine, protect your time, and remember, the pain of discipline weighs ounces, but the pain of regret weighs tons. Decide today who you are going to be. If this video gave you the spark you needed, drop a like to let me know you're locked in. Subscribe to keep that momentum going.